I got started roughly about 35 years ago with harness horses. I went to a racetrack with a friend of mine and we just started betting horses, and I said, why don't we buy one? He said, okay, let's buy one. So we bought one. Then I bought a second horse and won my first start with him immediately, and I was hooked. Started with one, got another one, and ended up at the end of the day actually training them, then got into the thoroughbred business with the Polis. The money in thoroughbreds is much better than it is in harness racing, and the price to buy them, it's the same. A good purse here was maybe $4,000. In the thoroughbreds, you're looking usually at 10 grand minimum, so it makes a big difference. Claimed my first horse here, his name was B Rules, won my first start with him. When you win your first start, you get hooked quickly, and now I have 8 of them. It's been a good run. I've won a lot of races. We take a lot of pride in picking the right horses to claim, to buy. Dee called me up and she said, there's one horse here. Nobody wants him, the last horse left. I went down, took a look at him, felt bad for him. He had a white painted face, very long ears. They were floppy, but nobody bid on him. Dee said, her husband Ernie Polo said that sometimes horses with floppy ears are the best runners. He won his first start ever. From there, he did well for us, but unfortunately, he shattered an ankle. So we gave him to a friend of ours, a cancer survivor that was really struggling with everything. And to this day, they're best friends and best buddies. And she said without him, she doesn't know if she would have made it.
Well, there's Money Rabbit, Founder Rabbit, Deacon Rabbit, Teacher Rabbit, Babe Rabbit, Roofer Rabbit.
We all got together and said, hey, let's do this.
We had no illusions that we were going to make a ton of money. We wanted to do it for fun.
Whatever happened with the horses, win, lose, whatever, what this was intended to do was bring everybody together out at Arlington Park, a beautiful venue, and have fun with this.
Win, lose, or last,
Yeah,
we have fun. That's just all there's to it.
Red Rabbit was our grandfather. He had red hair, and when he brought us gifts, it was always from the Red Rabbit. We had salts in, a horse we claimed. Within a day or two, we realized that there was a bone chip. We decided to get the chip removed. It was a full year before we raced that horse again, but the bone chip surgery was successful, and she came back to Arlington Park, and she won.
I see Charlie in the form, and he fit what we liked. So we talked with Chris, we dropped the claim slip, and we got him. And I have not had a bond like that probably with any other animal, but there was something about him. And I think it was all about that he ran so hard. He was such a professional. He would give you everything that he had each time he was out on the track. So I'd bring him carrots when he was in town. It'd be almost every night. It was a Friday night. I put my laptop on one of the slop buckets, and for an hour and a half, we both watched Seabiscuit while I was eating the pizza and would give him a carrot every time he pawed at me.
Summer 2010, yeah. He fired off one win after another, and we ended up getting 5 in a row.
And I'll tell you, when we won the third one, we're thinking, holy cow, but then we won a 4th in a row, then we won a 5th in a row.
General Charlie, 5 in a row!
We really think, when you look at what these horses do, I think is absolutely imperative that you do the right thing by them. And giving Salt a year off and the surgery was the right thing to do. And with Charlie, we thought for all that he had given us, the least we could do is give him a retirement that befitted the champion he was. And luckily my aunt has this small horse farm, and that's where he is right now, and he couldn't be happier.
Oh, I've been riding since I was a little kid, and my mom and dad always have horses. I was in India, and then I started riding like a quarter horses. I rode some thoroughbreds, but not like professionally. I did everything on the horses. I did show jumping, a little bit polo. So I did a lot of stuff on the horses. Then I moved to US and I worked with Bert Sonier. He was one of the top trainer back in the days. I worked with him for 5 or 6 years as an exercise rider, and then I went on my own on '89 as a trainer. The first time I saddled the horse won. So it was, pretty excitement, Right now I have my own horses with partnership. Some owners, they don't understand it's a horse, not a machine, and we got to make sure the horse is ready to run. Since I have my own horses, I know, okay, this horse needs more time. I don't mind giving more time because I have no pressure. Nobody tells me, oh, you got to run, run, run. And for me, it's a win-win situation, whether I win or lose. As long as the horse and the jockey comes back safe, it's a big plus for me. And then when you win the race, you know, I'm really happy.
I'm from Kentucky, so I think that explains a lot. Never was an owner until now.
Well, I've had really an amazing ownership experience. I had St. Leon. He actually got claimed away at Mountaineer for $5,000, and I'm like, I have to get this horse back. He was injured, was off for a year, had surgery, he came back, won 4 straight, and he's just moved up the ladder to winning a stakes race, which I just can't believe it.
About 4 years ago, Gail Vaca, the president and founder of Illinois Equine Humane Center, went to the auction at Shipshewana, Indiana. Gail came across a mare in the kill pen. Gail asked the kill buyer if it was a thoroughbred, and at first he said, no, it's not. Gail was convinced that it was, so she managed to get into the pen, flip the lip, see the tattoo, and went back to the kill buyer and said, look, you've got a thoroughbred here, and I'll buy her from you. Gail had noticed the mare was quite lame. Really, the whole intention at that point was to take her back to the center and more than likely just put her down with some dignity instead of making her endure that ride to Canada or Mexico. So she ended up paying $300, got the mare back to the center, and she started to come around. Several weeks after that, the vet had come back out to re-examine her, and sure enough, she was in foal. Several months come along, you know, April 15th, 2010, Taxi was born on tax day, hence Taxi. Gail just couldn't get over how good he looked, and she called me and she was like, Laura, you've got to see this baby. We've got to find out who Lulu is and who she was bred to, because this is not just your run-of-the-mill Heinz 57 foal. So Gail renewed the effort to try to find out who Lulu actually was, and several days later, the person who had owned Lulu called Gail, and that's how we found out that Lulu had actually been bred to Magna Graduate. Initially, she was carrying twin foals. They pinched one, and then the vet said that she had lost the other one too. So the owner, being upset, told his assistant to just get rid of the horse, and that's how she ended up at the auction. So he was quite surprised when Gail told him, well, guess what? We not only have a mare, but we have a healthy, bouncing baby boy to go with her. After watching how athletic he was, I said, well, what if we do a partnership? The partnership was made just for Taxi. He's the only horse in the partnership. When he's finished racing, that's it. Yeah, the partnership will go away. Because everybody was like, well, we can get more horses. And we're like, no, it's about Taxi.
I did not grow up with horses at all. Didn't have a whole lot of appreciation for horse racing until on a random college trip ended up at the races at Keeneland one day. And that's when racing just hit me over the head, and I said, I'd need to be part of this someday. And it stuck with me from that day on. I had family and friends tell me I was crazy and I'd never own a racehorse. So I started riding, met a few people, one thing led to another, and I was at the Fasig-Tipton sale in Lexington buying a yearling. So we found a horse from Churchill Downs named Fiery Salsa. Bought her for $3,500. We had a lot of success with her. You know, won 3 races. We retired her sound and made her a broodmare. Having the mare in foal for 11 months, delivering the baby, and then following that baby from birth to the racetrack is really, really exciting. And they're definitely more like family as opposed to a commodity. Of the foals that we'd had from Fiery Salsa to date, Dr. Trotter was the one that we liked the most. He was by the sire Johar, who won the Breeders' Cup Turf. So we decided to go back to Johar for Fiery Salsa's 5th baby, Sugar Kate.
He brought Dr. Trotter, Sugar Kate's full brother, over to me in 2011.
I decided to make the move to Tammy Dominowski. She's very hands-on and knows all of her horses' quirks. And I think some trainers are going to fit some owners better than others.
He's the type that likes to be involved. He loves to hear about his horses. He likes to hear details. He's also the kind that'll listen to you, you know, when I say this is what I think we need to do with the horse.
So I actually live about 20 miles east of St. Louis. Unfortunately, that means I can't always make the races, but Arlington Park's obviously the premier track in Illinois. And this is the venue I want my horses at, so it's worth making the drive.
We were able to take a horse that really was underperforming and turned into a racehorse. He enjoys what he's doing.
We had a good idea of when the horse would be showing up, and so of course I had chopped up a couple pounds of carrots. We were here waiting and just really excited to see him. He looks fabulous.
She's a little stubborn filly, but she's grown up a lot since last year, you know. I think she'll do good. She's improving a lot.
Well, he had a workout, and Michelle said he went very well, and Julio said he was well under wraps. He did not push him at all. He said he likes the poly track.
We are very optimistic. She's training well, feeling good. She's a happy horse, and so we'll see what happens when the starting gates open.
Pretty nervous. Yeah, like really nervous.
Lachad broke well with Ultimo Trego. Magna Fortuna nearest the inside.